The bass industry has a dirty little secret. It is not about tone. It is not about craftsmanship. It is not even about the wood or the pickups or the country of manufacture. It is about perception. The moment a price tag crosses a certain threshold, the brain does something automatic. It assumes quality. It assumes value. It assumes that the instrument on the other side of that number is worth what somebody decided to charge for it. And most of the time, that assumption is wrong. Today, we are going through 6 bass guitars that the industry would genuinely prefer you never discovered. Not because they are hiding them, but because every single one of them destroys the justification for spending 2 or 3 times as much on something with a more famous name on the headstock. 6 basses, all under $600, all available right now in the United States. Every single one of them should cost way more than it does. Number 1. The Sterling by Music Man Ray 4, around $399. Let us start with the most uncomfortable instrument on this list, because this one comes with a story that Ernie Ball Music Man would rather you did not think about too carefully. The Music Man Stingray Special costs $2,200. It is built in San Luis Obispo, California. It has a roasted maple neck, an Alnico humbucker, and a 3-band active EQ that professional players describe as the most responsive electronics they have ever touched. It is an extraordinary instrument. We have said so in previous videos and we stand by it. Ernie Ball also owns Sterling by Music Man. The Ray 4 costs $399. It has the same iconic Stingray body shape, the same oval pickguard, the same active electronics concept, the same visual DNA that has been on stages and records since 1976. Ernie Ball built a $399 version of their $2,200 flagship bass, and that number, $399, is the most honest statement about manufacturing costs in this entire industry. Now, the Ray 4 has a basswood body instead of alder, a hard maple neck, a 2-band instead of 3-band preamp. The quality gap between the two instruments is real, and we are not pretending otherwise. But the gap between the price of the Ray 4 and the price of the Stingray Special is not a gap in quality. It is a gap in story, in heritage, in the cultural weight of a name. For $399, the Ray 4 gives you active electronics, a fast, comfortable neck, and that unmistakable Stingray character in a package that fits in any car without requiring a separate case budget. The industry does not want you to notice that the same company made both of these. Now you have noticed. Number 2. The Sire Marcus Miller 5.3 New Gen, around $499. Marcus Miller did not stumble into the bass world. He built his reputation over 4 decades as one of the most recorded session bassists alive. He played on records that defined what modern bass sounds like, and at some point, he looked at the instruments available to players who were starting that same journey and made a decision. He was going to fix it. Sire exists because Marcus Miller believed the price gap between professional and budget instruments was not justified by actual quality differences. The V3 New Gen is his most direct argument for that position. For $499, you receive rolled fingerboard edges. That single detail, the smooth transition between the fingerboard surface and the side of the neck that makes an instrument feel played in from the first moment you touch it, is confirmed by Guitar Player magazine as something you simply do not find on guitars under $1,000, let alone under $500. You also get Marcus Miller J Revolution single coil pickups with independent volume controls and a rosewood fingerboard. The build quality consistently impresses independent reviewers at a price point where most manufacturers cut corners that matter. Direct comparison. The Fender Player 2 Jazz Bass at $850. Both jazz-style instruments, both single-coil pickups, both from companies that understand what a jazz bass should sound like. The Sire costs $350 less and ships with a level of specification that the Fender does not match at its price point. Marcus Miller set out to embarrass the industry's pricing logic. The V3 New Gen is the evidence that he succeeded. Number 3. The Ibanez SR 400 EQM, around $529. Pick this bass up in a shop without looking at the price tag. Run your hand along the 5-piece maple neck. Look at the quilted maple top over the Nyato body. Feel the Jatoba fingerboard under your fingers. Listen to the power span dual coil pickups through a decent amp with the three-way coil tap switch giving you single coil, dual coil, and parallel options. Now guess what it costs? Most players guess somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500. It costs $529. The SR series from Ibanez has been the professional bassist's quiet secret for 30 years. Session players use them on major label records. Touring musicians trust them night after night. Their names are in the liner notes. Their basses are never in the photographs. Nobody in the audience ever knew it was an Ibanez. The SR400 EQM takes that legacy and wraps it in a visual package that has no business existing at this price. The quilted maple top alone would add $300 to the cost of any instrument from a brand with a larger marketing budget. Ibanez does not spend money telling you how good their basses are. They spend it building them instead. Number 4. The Yamaha TRBX 504. Around $599. This is the most ignored bass on this entire list. Not because it is average, because Yamaha does not pay YouTubers to review it, because it does not have the cultural mythology of a Fender or the boutique reputation of a Warwick, because it sits quietly on a shelf in a music shop between instruments with more famous names and waits for the player who actually picks it up and plugs it in. That player is usually surprised. The TRBX 504 has a 5-piece maple and mahogany neck, 2 humbucking pickups delivering hum-free sound that most budget instruments cannot achieve, a powerful active 3-band EQ alongside a passive mode, giving you tonal range that most basses at twice this price cannot match, solid mahogany body, hardware that does not rattle, drift, or embarrass itself on a real stage. Yamaha has been building musical instruments since 1887. They understand acoustic engineering at a level that most dedicated guitar companies simply do not have access to. The TRBX 504 is what happens when that knowledge gets applied to a $599 bass without the constraint of a marketing budget that needs to be recovered in the price. The industry does not want you buying this bass. There is no narrative around it, no heritage story, no famous endorser, just the instrument. Number 5. The Spector Performer 4. Around $399 to $449, Spector was founded in Brooklyn, New York in 1976 by Stuart Spector and Alan Charney. Their high-end instruments are built at their workshop in Woodstock, New York. The NS2, the original American neck-through model, starts at $4,000 and is used by serious working players at the highest levels of the industry. The design is immediately recognizable. That contoured body shape, that distinctive carved top, that aggressive stance that says something before you even play a note. The Performer 4 brings that identity to under $450. Built in China to Spector's own design specifications, EMGHZ passive pickups. The same EMG brand that appears on instruments costing 10 times as much. A Spector tone pump active preamp with a 2-band EQ. The same contoured mahogany body shape that defines the Spector visual language. Direct comparison. The Gibson Thunderbird at $2,499. Both are rock-oriented basses with humbucking pickups and a strong visual presence. Both cut through a loud guitar-heavy mix with authority. The Spector costs less than a fifth of the Gibson. In most live situations, most listeners will not hear a difference that justifies that price gap, but your bank account will feel it. Number 6. The G&L Tribute L 2000. Around $550 to $700. This one requires a moment of context, because the story behind this bass is unlike anything else on this list. Leo Fender left Fender in 1965. He spent the next 2 decades quietly doing what he had always done, designing instruments, solving problems, asking what a better bass guitar would look like if the constraints of the past did not apply. G&L was founded in 1980. The L2000 is widely considered Leo Fender's final great design. 2 massive MFD humbuckers with a switching system that provides more tonal combinations than almost any other production bass ever built. Passive mode, active mode, series, parallel, bright switch. The instrument covers more sonic territory in a single set of controls than most players will ever fully explore. The American G&L L2000 costs around $1,800. It is built in Fullerton, California, by people who carry the direct lineage of Leo Fender's final years of instrument design. The Tribute series is built in Indonesia to the exact specifications of the American models. Same MFD pickup design, same switching system, same tonal range, same Leo Fender DNA. For $550 to $700. Leo Fender's last great idea is available right now for less than a third of what Fender charges for instruments that trace their lineage to his earlier work. The irony is real. The value is undeniable. Honorary mention: the Sterling by Music Man Joe Dart, around $549. We are not putting this on the main list because it is not regularly available. The Joe Dart is a timed edition that opens for pre-order once a year and ships months later. If you are reading this after the order window has closed, you missed it. Watch for the next one. But if you ever have the chance to order one, do it without hesitation. Joe Dart is the bassist for Wolfbeck. His philosophy is the most radical on this list. One humbucker, one volume knob, flat wound strings from the factory, no tone control, no switching, no options. Just the instrument doing exactly what it is supposed to do. For $549, that instrument competes with basses costing 4 times as much, because Joe Dart designed it to solve one problem and nothing else. And when an instrument is designed to solve one problem, and that problem is the right one, the result is something that feels inevitable the moment you pick it up. Here is what these 6 instruments have in common. None of them have the marketing budget of a Fender. None of them have the cultural mythology of a Gibson. None of them are hanging in the most visible spot in the shop with a spotlight on them, and a salesperson ready to tell you why they are worth twice what they cost. They are just good. Genuinely good. In ways that instruments costing 2 and 3 times as much are frequently not. The industry is not hiding these basses, but it is not going out of its way to introduce you to them either. There is no financial incentive to point you toward a $500 instrument when a $1,500 instrument is available. That is why this video exists. Drop a comment and tell us which one you play, or which one you are about to buy. And if you have ever handed over real money for an instrument with a famous name and then picked up something like this afterward and felt that particular kind of frustration, you know exactly what we are talking about.